Today's next special day. I'm here at Beat Lab Academy. I'm doing my music hacker event. It's pretty cool. It's a place to be able to connect musicians, DJs, creatives, producers, and technologists, coders, hackers all together in order to, empower creatives with technology. And I'm here to do some really cool stuff. I've got some really interesting artists coming through today. One of my good friends from Tokyo is coming in, DJ Manifesto. I've spun with him for close to 10 years now, and pretty excited that he's coming out because we've done some amazing things together, and he's really technically minded as well. Got another artist coming to talk about how to create hardware synths, and another friend that's gonna come from Delta Sound Labs talking about VSTs. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is the second thing that we're doing here, second time I'm creating this event, and pretty excited about just being able to show people that you can be a coder, a musician, a technologist, and an artist and a creative. So we'll see where it goes, but I think it's going to be a pretty interesting concept, and I don't think I've seen a space like this before. So. Cool. Well, thanks for coming in, guys. My name is Ilya. Sorry that we're starting a little late today. It is our second official meeting of Music Hackers Collective. I'm a musician, a DJ, but I'm also a programmer, drone pilot, drone cinematographer, vlogger, blogger, all the stuff that you have to do nowadays. So, and I haven't found a space where I'm able to combine all of that. I want to be able to program my own music. I want to be able to program my own synths, but I also want to be able to express things creatively. And this is kind of a space to do that. I really truly believe that music and art can be synonymous. And you can be both left brain and right brain. And so this is a space to do that sort of thing. And so I implore you to talk to everybody, ask questions, and challenge each other, and in terms of art, music, creativity, and tech. And so I have a couple of fantastic presenters today. I'm glad you all guys are here. I already talked to some of you guys, and it's awesome to see what all of you guys are doing. We've got DJ Carlton, DJ Manifesto, my friend Carlton.
Using the government name.
Here from Japan today. Tim also goes by
Tim Marmots. My stage name. Because I can pronounce my last name.
Yep, does a lot of MIDI-based stuff, synthesizers. He'll be presenting, as well as Ed, also from Delta Sound Labs. Does a lot of programming VSTs, Master Lives, and audio-based programming. So I'm gonna have DJ Manifesto do a little thing for you guys here. Have a little presentation, and he's also gonna do a little live show for you guys. So let me turn off, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna show my little promo thing just to get an idea of who I am, and then I'll talk about my stuff, and then play you guys a track, and then go over my setup, and then we can do a Q&A.
Cool.
Whatever you guys are interested in.
I'm gonna turn off the lights so this is a little bit better.
Cool. So, yeah. This is just some video so you can get an idea of what I do. And there's no audio coming from it. And that's gonna be really awkward. So, I'm gonna stop it right now. Is there audio from the HDMI?
Start it again.
Oh, there you go. Alright, so my name is DJ Manifesto. I'm a full-time DJ and producer. I've been lucky enough for the last 20 years to solely support myself with music. I'm one of the lucky ones. I've been DJing since I was 11 years old and been on the road for about 15 years. Currently live in Tokyo, and pretty much I'm more of a, I guess, classic sense of a DJ. I still use turntables or CDJs and a mixer. I'm using Traktor now, and I have a pretty basic foot pedal with equalizer, reverb, and a delay, and I patch it all into this, and I'm wireless, and I pretty much go around and play violin and DJ at the same time, so that's my show. I try to be a little bit more unique, because in this day and age you can't just do one thing, you gotta be a jack of all trades, and that's with every facet of anything in entertainment now. Used to be, you could just be a good musician, that's not enough. So it's all about showmanship and everything else. So I guess not to talk, I don't like talking about myself, it's kind of odd, but a little bit about me. I'm more of a bass producer now, blaming my friends here, they've kind of influenced me over the years. I was a trance producer for 15 odd years, toured with Paul Van Dyke, toured with a lot of people and did some stuff. I was in a pop group that got signed and shelved by Capitol Records, so I've been through all the rigors of the life, as we can say, and now I'm in Japan trying it there, and it's a really cool thing, and I'm back, and my friend decided to say, hey, you want to talk to some of my friends? I said, of course, so now I'm here. So, I'm going to let you guys hear one of my, two of my tracks, and then if you guys want to talk to me about my setup, and I think where I would be able to give the best advice is more of the business side and the touring side of it, as in I'm not the most technical person, I do produce. But that's not where my strong suits I think are, is I think I can help you guys out as far as the touring side of it. That's probably where I would feel most comfortable talking to you guys about the rigors of the road and carrying equipment and dealing with firmware and stuff like that all the time. So I'm going to play some tracks, and if you guys have some questions at the end, I think you wanted to ask me some questions too.
Sure, yeah, we'll do a Q&A afterwards. So why don't you maybe play a couple tracks, and then we'll interject like Q&A.
So I'm doing like two different styles of song. I'm not gonna like blend them because I don't have the setup, but I'm gonna play the tracks. So I'm doing one in the tech house, what we call 4 the floor 128, and then I'm gonna do a halftime, like a bass track on the second track. You can hear both styles, and nothing's really too crazy about my setup. I try to say less is more. The more I traveled, I used to have a really elaborate foot pedal setup. And when I would come to these shows and I would see the disdain of the promoter that hired me of like, what the hell did I just hire? It got more and more conducive to let's simplify this because I want to get hired again. So I developed a very quick rig that has a wireless sending unit, a wireless ear unit, and then 3 foot pedals. I had 12 at the beginning. And I had a crazy wire setup. So I can say to anybody right now, if you're thinking about touring, simplify it. Unless you are at the level that they will cater to every need, simplify it. Because they don't want messes, because most promoters don't know anything about music and they're not going to want to deal with you. So let's get back to the music. And, you can turn lights off so they can see the light.
Cool, yeah, definitely.
Alrighty, let's go for it.
Yeah.
No, this is UMAC. I'm not going to take credit for that one.
God, that was awesome. You know, me and Carlton here, we met back in D.C. I remember how much you've grown, especially with your equipment. Man, I remember helping him on tour, like lugging around like crates of like
that's what I'm saying. Simplicity is.
Yeah. So now you've got like literally 3 pedals. That's dope.
3 pedals, and I don't do looping. I know a lot of people are into looping. That's fine. I can truthfully say, as someone who's done looping live, there is a big benefit, but there is a extra big con. It's when you loop wrong. And when you're in a live setting, if everything is time locked, if you are on a time clock and you have the looper, great. If that does not work, holy shit. So I say, if you are an instrumentalist that wants to incorporate that with electronic music, live sometimes can be better. Because the majority of your audience is not going to know when you mess up, but let me tell you, when you're doing a loop in the wrong key or the wrong format or something that's really off, they'll know. And then you're like in the middle of trying to erase the loop, and if you have a cheap foot pedal that doesn't really do what you need it to do, and you have to go through 8 different things, and you're going to have 500 people looking at you while you're doing this. So I've learned, like I said, I do everything live, and that way if you see me playing it, there's nothing pre-recorded. My live show is kind of crazy because my other instrument, which I did not bring with me, I also play theremin live. I have a Moog theremin. Because I just kind of get bored as being called the violin guy, so I sometimes I bring in other instruments, guitars, theremin. The theremin I actually just, I have it configured so when I'm not playing the violin, I walk right up to it and use my body pack in the same channel and just make sure the effects are off. So I have the mini theremin, the Moog, the MIDI one, the white one. It's like a little $300 one. It's awesome. I have it programmed to some synth sounds, and I normally carry that on the larger shows. But like I said, some small DJ clubs, they don't want all that set up, so it's normally just me and the violin.
Do you want to talk about your actual setup and maybe turn on your Ableton? Or
Yeah, I can show you. So
tell them about how it's all wired up.
So I think there's one DJ in the house here. If anybody, Traktor is one of the mediums I use. It's not the only one. There's Serato, and honestly, I think it's all personal preference. I don't like to say there's a one that's good or the other because hip hop guys crush it on Serato and Traktor, and electronic guys do crush it on Serato and Traktor. So it used to be there was a battle. Honestly, they're industry standard. For DJing, I wouldn't go to anything other than Traktor or Serato. If you're using the other third-party one, you've been duped. Just don't do it. There's a reason why it's industry standard. I use an audio interface. I used to carry around an audio 8 card or audio 10 card, which is synonymous for Traktor. But pretty much any audio interface, any DAW that you need for like an Ableton, if you need an audio interface, I, for instance, have a Quartet at my house, that would even work the same way as a mobile card. But pretty much I use the laptop with my music, and it comes out of that into the mixer, and it configures to the channels. Lucky enough now that the mixers have the audio card built into them. A couple years ago, we weren't so lucky, and we had to carry the audio card around, 8 freaking RCAs, and that would only add to the crazy nest of stuff you have. And someone who lives in Tokyo, I can tell you that, I don't know if it's this way as much now in the States, but DJ-wise, there's 12 DJs a night. It's really bad. So configuration of how much setup you have, if you have a crazy setup, you have to get that crazy setup in and out in the middle of your set or disrupting the other performer, all that. So people are going with USBs, which is another medium, which is also good with Rekordbox. There's tons of information about any of this stuff. I don't want to go too technical because it might be kind of boring when I don't have much time to talk. But
you used to play on Serato, right?
I was Final Scratch first.
Okay.
Then I went to Traktor. I tried Serato. Honestly, it was the difference between looking at the waves side to side, and I didn't like them up and down. That's literally why I decided to go Traktors, because I like left and right. Some people like them lining up. I like them kind of like in that parallel. So it's just whatever the way you like it. They're both solid. You can't go wrong with either one. Some of you guys are probably going to want to dabble into Ableton Live and doing live shows that way.
So here he uses Ableton. Okay, so basically everybody.
So Ableton, the cool thing is if you're incorporating live instruments, you're going to be able to do stuff with clocks and make sure that everything's in time. Whereas in Traktor and Serato are not as friendly with that kind of stuff yet. But I think with newer versions, they're getting more and more programmable. So my normal setup is 2 turntables and a microphone. I like I said, simplicity is best. When he first started seeing me perform back in D.C., I'd be playing really intricate stuff, and the reaction of the audience was always the same if I played the same basic stuff. And I call that the Blink-182 method. They got 12 platinum records with 3 chords. So I say this not because you shouldn't be a good musician, but don't kill yourself to be the elaborate person if you don't need to. If you wanna, if your intention is to entertain, entertain. If your intention is to educate, educate. But don't try to mix those two and get mad at yourself every freaking day, because there's a difference. So I will say that throughout me talking, is simplicity is best. I'm gonna play another track because my format of music that I actually produce is bass. So I could play a music video.
Yeah. No. Why don't you?
I'll let you guys hear something I produced.
You guys have any questions so far, by the way?
Yeah.
No questions?
I had a question.
Yeah.
It's about when you were like younger, playing the violin. You have a hard time finding people to play with and jam with.
You know, I'm 32 now. I think now there's a collective of people wanting to do that. I don't know back before. I hate to say it like I'm an old guy, but before the internet, like it was very limiting. Like to find people that were kind of in your same vibe and group.
Yeah.
I say now, like everybody wants to jam out and hang out. I would just say Facebook communities is probably the fastest way to meet people as far as that goes, or Guitar Center when they have these open things. Or I was lucky enough that I was kind of a weird kid and I don't know any strangers, so I kind of just latched on to people, and if they wanted me there or not, I was there and hanging out. So I was taught with the Suzuki method with violin, which is as 5 years old. So my class became my sessioners for about 10 years. I was with the same people.
Okay.
So like I would say educationally is probably the fastest way to get that core. And then honestly Facebook still. I meet so many people I literally write music with from just, hey, you want to collab? And then song. So it's still a good tool. And honestly, like I think 10 years ago, I think it mattered where you lived. You can literally write a song with somebody in like Iran tomorrow if you wanted to. You can write music with anybody anywhere. You just need to stem it out. And there's some programs, I think there's
Music
DAWs
Splice and stuff.
Music Splice, you can literally, and I think there's cloud-based DAWs now. I think there was one that... Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, just send the file over and collab, and I think we're going to get to the point probably the next 3 or 4 years, hopefully sooner than that, that Ableton will be fully cloud-based and you'll be able to look at the session together in different rooms, which I hope is the way it goes, because we shouldn't have to travel to produce music.
Yeah, it's an amazing time that we live in now.
Yeah, I wish it was like that when I started out. So I'm going to let you guys see something that I produced, and it's just a song called Omega, and I'm going to play one more track, and then we'll do a Q&A, and I'll get out of you guys' way for the other stuff. So, my personality is I'm gonna tell you how I feel about the music industry if you like it or not. I'm not very someone that sugarcoats it because I'm very jaded. So I'm not like I don't like to tell people like unicorns and rainbows about the music industry because I've been through it all. I had a meeting. My manager was I'm not dropping names, but to give you an idea of where I've been, had a manager, Randy Jackson. I was signed by Capital with my group, and then I thought my life was going to change. Got the signing bonus, had meetings with all the top execs, and then we got shelved in only a year's time. So from opening for Coldplay to not getting any PR and getting shelved is a very whirlwind of this music industry. When Ivan tells you you're going to be big, you believe him, and then a year later you can't pay your bills. So the industry, I say, is indie is the way to go now. And I don't say that as a bitter musician. I say it as a safe musician and one that actually wants to make money. The big companies are honestly scared. I can tell you that right now. They want you to be an already established product before you even step in that door. We had a lawyer, we had a manager, we had everybody in place, and they still needed to be twisted their arm. All we needed was their checkbook. So I say now, if you can start your own record label, start it. Symphonic Distribution is the one I'm through with. It took me 30 minutes. I have a record label. I make money from my own music, and no one else makes money. You couldn't do that 10 years ago. You don't need a 360 deal. You don't need any of that stuff. Power to the indie. So I implore you guys, before you think that the only way is walking into some of those doors, honestly, all the people making their money are doing it themselves. Like, I don't know if anybody know who Son Holo is, a really big artist. Yeah, completely indie. he made over $1 million in his own stuff last year alone. Drolio, another group I really like. They're indie. Like, you don't have, so like the big, I tell all my musician friends getting into it, just do it yourself. I mean, I don't know crap and I'm doing good. So, you know, it's, it doesn't require much on the basis of that. So I'm gonna let you guys see this. This is called Omega. And this is just to let you know what kind of music I make.
I'm gonna turn off the lights here
Yes.
so you guys can see this, and I'll turn on the lights back on when we play.
This was shot and about 15 minutes from my house in Hakone in Kanagawa, Japan.
about technology with all the stuff that you're doing. You know, you're shooting your own videos. You're having people edit it. Your whole setup is all based on, you know, working with Ableton and Traktor. He keeps on telling me he's not techie, and I keep on telling him that he's wrong. You know, all this stuff is really cool. You know, you have to have like an innate understanding, and I know that we kind of like take it for granted. You know, I was doing a DJ class the other day, and you just go, oh yeah, you just do this, you do this right here real quick, and I'm like, well, hold up. Well, what did you just do? You know, and it's really interesting because, you know, I think a lot of people have never really worked with a mixer or Traktor or all these different controllers that we've worked with, and, you know, pedal boxes, and experimented with them. You know, so I think it's really cool to see what you're doing, especially with the electro violin. And unfortunately, he doesn't have his turntable set up. He also DJs on top of this. So while he's playing, he's, you know, DJing.
Sometimes with the violin on my neck. Same time with the configuration, so which adds to the entertainment factor of it, because you need to look busy up on stage. Anybody who's performing, if you're up there staring at your laptop, then the crowd's going to give you the same response, you know. So you got to be doing, even if you're not doing something, embellish. It's never bad to be an entertainer in every facet of it.
And I've been also finding, you know, what you said is really true. For me, I really want to put a lot of really cool stuff on stage, but at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself: is it like making the music better? You know?
Last year in bag fees, I spent $8,000. So that should tell you on equipment, condense it, because I'm only with 2-3 extra bags. Yeah. I know some people that do controllers and analog stuff. I can only imagine with stuff that's really, really proprietary. Like this violin doesn't get sent on top of the plane sometimes, especially some Asian countries. They implore me to put it underneath the plane, and that costs money for every little flight. So it's tax writable, but still a lot of money. Yeah,
it's really interesting. I mean, the thing is, I remember us doing a tour, and you know, he has got the violin, and it was a different one. It was a big red violin, and it was glowing and stuff. And you know,
build that one.
You did build that, right? Yeah. You hacked it together.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, right.
I'm not good at soldering, so let's just say it worked half the time. So,
but you know, what's interesting is that you have to realize how people interact with technology as well as your performances. You know, he was on stage and he was playing so well that people thought it was just like some DJ DJing, just it was on time and everything. And I actually had to kick him off the stage and made him walk around, and then people really got into the performance because they saw that he was interacting with the technology. So it's really important to also understand how people are like almost interacting with the technology that you're using to perform with it. It's another kind of side of it a lot of people don't really discuss, you know, how you're creating it so that people can interact with it, see it, you know, feel it from that perspective.
And from a live performance standpoint, show them what you do. If you have a way of putting a camera on what you do, show them what you do. Same with producing. Show people what you do. If you have an idea, record it. It's not going to kill you to have your live stream, even if 3 people watch it. The next day it could be 10. Show people what you do, because now if it wasn't recorded, it didn't happen. You've got to be very transparent with what you do, because there's a lot of fakers out there, and people want to see it. So there's some live venues I'm very lucky to have camera right there, and you can tell the audience is into it more because they see every little thing you're doing. They see that you're scrambling. Sometimes I have 10 seconds to run back to the DJ booth, configure the next song, because I don't believe in pre-recorded sets. So they want to see that. They want to see the sweat coming off you. They want to see that you're struggling, because it makes it better of a fun show. If you're up there and you're very calm and collective, it's cool, but the audience is going to be calm and collective. So I say show everything and be transparent.
Yeah, it's definitely important to show people what you're doing. If you're having like an exquisite set with all a bunch of electronics, you really want to figure out a way also to perform it out in the way that they'll be able to almost see it.
Especially starting out, you know, record all of your journey. People love to see the journey. You know, if you're struggling and you want to show people how you've gotten from point A to point B on a song, you know, put it out there. That's what YouTube's for. That's what Facebook's for. It's not just about, you know, dumb crap and memes. You know, there's some really cool stuff out there. And, you know, don't get discouraged if I've had sometimes 1,000 people watching my live streams, and sometimes I've had 2. So, you know, it just varies. And someone's going to like your stuff. There's an audience for everybody, you know. If you want to type in, like, 80s synth goth wave, there's somebody that likes that, and there's somebody that likes techno with a snare and a drum that's going for 20 minutes long, i.e. techno music, you know, which I still like it, but it's not for everybody, you know. So there's music out there for everybody. Don't ever get discouraged. I know that a lot of my friends are in the music industry. They try right away, and they expect the next day they're going to be Martin Garrix, David Guetta, and they don't get that get any of that right away. And I can tell you, someone that's been doing it for 20 plus years, it's a roller coaster, but you got to enjoy the life, you know. And if you want to go full time, I only advice to say is that it's difficult, but it can be done, and you got to be comfortable with what level of life you're willing to have to pursue your dream. If you're fine with, you know, living out of a car every once in a while or having that is a reality. It can happen, or you can blow up. Both are equal, so there's no guarantees. But I say I would do it 100 more times over again. So,
do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, because you're doing it full time and you're indie, right?
mm-hmm.
Do you feel like this is pressure to constantly try to
Oh,
come up and produce? And
of course, but the good thing is it's your own pressure. When I was signed, it was a different pressure. Like, there were deadlines, so at least it's your own deadline. It doesn't make you lazy. It just makes it so that, you know, you don't have to. You know, I had a contractual obligation to release a track, and my head would be on a table if it didn't happen. That's a different pressure. That's not music to me.
Yeah.
I feel like if it becomes down to money. Like, if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't have been a musician. Let's be real. It's about expression. So sometimes I'll be like, hey, the song's going to be out next week. It might be released, and then something happens, and then life happens, and then you know your fans know, you know, if they're truly your fans, they'll be responsive. It's good to have a timetable and but I would say the pressure's better, because if anybody's self-employed, it's better to be your own boss at the end of the day. You know, especially in the music industry, most people, there's some really, really good execs, but most of the ones that are execs, they're not musicians. You have to remember that. That's why they're there. They're businessmen. They're businesswomen. They're not musicians.
So, you know, I definitely don't want music hackers to only be about tech. It's also about hacking workflows, hacking your time. I noticed that you're talking about your scheduling and stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're doing to make yourself work efficient, efficiently? You know, are there any things that you're doing to help you, like, you know, hack your workflow?
I outsource a lot of PR because I try to do it myself, and it's difficult. I'd rather spend $300-400 a month in PR on somebody that can do it for me. Even Fiverr.
Do better than you too. Right?
Yeah, do better. Like, just implement. There's so on the lowest scale, you can hire a publicist, or you can go to Fiverr, spend $5. Don't do the fake stuff. Do not do the fake stuff.
What's the fake stuff?
Fake stuff is buying likes. Don't do that crap. But also utilize Facebook, utilize YouTube, utilize Google Analytics. Use the tools to boost things. There's nothing wrong with boosting and nothing wrong with using the sites the way they're supposed to be. Now, getting 8,000 people from India to like your song is not going to help your song. But using Facebook boosts through their demographics and the way they can channel fans is the way it's supposed to be used. And everybody uses it correctly, is effective. But don't do the fake thing, because you all know the fake thing. It's called retention. And any agent or any person that's actually watching someone to book you, they're going to look at your Facebook. They're going to see, okay, okay, this person has this amount of fans. If you have a post and you have 40,000 fans, and not one person comments on your post, it's the same thing that you had 2 fans. They don't care. They want to see retention. They want to see comments. They want to see likes. They want to see shares. So I might have 60,000 fans. Big whoop. But at least I got hundreds and hundreds of shares, likes, comments.
Interaction.
That's just as important. So don't fake it, because they're getting smarter, and there's no point.
What about your production workflow?
Production workflow is I'm a hippie about it. If I feel like making music, I make music. I was forced to have a regiment when I was signed, and it really hurt my workflow as far as I felt like I was pressured to create an idea. For me, I like to, if I'm feeling upset, if I'm feeling like writing music, I write. If I feel like I'm not going to write today, I don't. That's not for everybody, but I would say make sure if you want to produce, you treat producing like a full-time job. You can't produce 2 hours a week and expect it to go anywhere. You got to put in 18-hour days every once in a while. You just have to do it. Production is not easy, or everybody be doing it. DJing is the easy part. Nothing against DJing, but DJing is the fun, easy part. The computer does all the work for you now. Production is where you need to put your time in, because it's all about songs now.
Do you feel like, I know you changed your diet into like veganism, for example, a little bit of biohacking, like into eating well? And,
I don't want to be the preachy vegan,
but you know, maybe that's something that's helped you as well. I know I felt like I've taken supplements and I work out, and if I don't do that, I just feel like crap all the time. I can't.
Dietary, right? I mean, I just like, I don't know. For me, I just got into. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything. I'm kind of lame. So I'm the one at the party. Like I'm at the after party, like stone sober, going, I hate all of you, because I'm just like, because the people at the after party are the people after. I'm being like, I don't want you to hear this because you're really younger, but after parties are for it's we all know. The after parties, nothing good happens at an after party. Now, if you're with collective minds like this, after party would be dope. We can network, we can talk about music, but the majority of nightclubs and settings I'm in, the after parties, nothing good happens there. So I normally tend to either go to a diner or get some food, or I go home and start in the hotel and start writing music again.
We had some 3 a.m. nights at Taco Bell for sure.
Yes, we call those Imodium and Taco Bell nights anyway. So, but yeah, I this business has taught me so much, and it you know. I can say that you just got to be strong and you got to follow your own path. And that's if any advice I can give you guys with my little bit of knowledge that I have, is to just follow your own path. And if it's weird, keep it weird. Don't try to sound like everybody else. If it's freaking weird, like let me tell you, like I guarantee the Silent Holos and all those Skrillex guys and all those guys, their stuff was so weird when they first were starting out, but they stuck with it, and now it's considered like everything that we hear now. So don't try to make it sound like anybody else. And if it's different, then that's the best part about it. That's what music's all about. You don't have to be a Red One. You don't have to be a Dr. Luke. You know. So.
Do you guys have any more questions before he just plays a little short?
When you say like 18 hours, would you say sometimes that's on just one song?
Oh God! I mean that track Omega, which is feels dated to me now because it's a year old. Like I may put 100 hours. You know, produce a track. I mean, I'm so hard on every record. Like, I'll literally send it to the mastering engineer because I don't like to mix and master my own stuff. I like fresh ears, which you can do it yourself, but I like fresh ears. I am known to say, hey, here's a different stem, switch this out, and they will hate me and they will cuss me out. But I drive and listen to the car, like my mix in the car driving, and if I'm like, oh no, why did I do that? And that will be after the song has been done for 3 weeks. So it just depends. Like I mean, I know some songs that were written in a week, and I know some songs that were written in 6 years. So it just depends. Like there's no right or wrong to what we do. No one's gonna tell you that you're doing it wrong, because if they tell you that, they shouldn't be giving you advice. So.
Yes.
Talking about advice, like who's your mentors, or like you said, fresh ears? Who are your fresh ears?
Mentors, I was lucky enough to work with David Campbell when I was living in Los Angeles. He's a scoring person. I worked with Beck, and the band I was with Beck's sister and stuff, so I was with the Campbell family. If you're familiar with them, they do a lot of scoring and stuff, so I got a lot of hands-on knowledge from him, and then I sat on so many sessions with Randy Jackson. I learned a lot from the pop standpoint, which is not what I want to do, but that's a certain level of industry standard that it was really neat to see what they do and learning. I learned that I hate compression, and I hate everything about not being dynamic and how music is squished to the top just so your song is louder than every other song on the radio. And I learned a lot of what I didn't want to do. And I think that's the best thing about learning, is that you don't have to be sitting next to somebody and you don't have to like everything they do, but just take what it is for what it is and then implement it to your own stuff. Because half the stuff I learned, I go, well, I don't want to do that. And I did it myself. So that's just as useful as getting taught the actual advice. There's so many people that are looking for interns. Don't be afraid to give your time. Because I know that David liked me doing all the sessions for free, and I was happy to do it. And I learned so much. I was working on movies that I didn't get credit for. I didn't give a crap, because I was doing stuff that people would have killed to do. And I learned invaluable knowledge that will stay with me to the day I die.
Anything particular that you can... Any particular small lessons that you can talk about? Maybe some sort of key chords or something like that.
Don't be afraid to second guess yourself. You know, that was the thing. I was always following my first instinct, and then I would have to force myself to not believe that what I thought was right, because you doubt yourself. We all doubt ourselves as musicians. If you don't think something's right, speak up. And even if it's your own stuff, if you have that thing on the back of your neck that you're kind of like, but you want the song done, fix that thing, because you're going to freaking hear that song the rest of your life and you're going to wish you fixed it. If you ever watch some of these really big musicians, they'll tell you, I hear this mistake. We don't hear it. I was watching a thing with Led Zeppelin. He was like, oh, he's out of key there. Have we ever heard anything like that? But they know it. They always will think of that song and know that Robert Plant riff was something off. We don't know that. But that's the point. Make it your art and make it your best. and find anybody that will work with you and work with them. It's a collaborative nature now. He's been beating that into my head forever. I'm such a by myself kind of guy. I don't like people, so
I still hit him up every other week. Like, so when is the collab happening? 15 years later.
We talk a lot, and I, I'm just hard on myself. Sometimes I believe that if I'm gonna take someone down with my journey, I don't want it to be any less than me. That's just me. So I rather, but I can say collaboration is the most important thing.
It's so much easier nowadays.
It's so much easier nowadays.
You just open up Splice and find somebody on Facebook.
Splice, by the way, is the dopest thing. If you haven't gotten it, get it.
Yeah.
It's for pretty much any dial. Pretty much millions of samples. I literally carry around all my samples, and now I feel like I'm an old man carrying around balls and chains, because you can literally just have a cloud, and it's like, what, $10 a month or something?
So, yeah.
It's just, and every sample, and they're fresh. So now I don't think you need to use samples. It's good to record your own stuff. However, when you're on the road and you have an idea, Splice. I don't work for them. Splice.
And you can also collaborate with people. But
Yes.
Put everything in the cloud. People can pull down the whole session. It can work like that. So.
Any other questions for I?
So how do you get people to show up for shows?
Sell your soul? No. I've worked. I've done Live Nation stuff. I've done Ticketmaster events. Those are like, I don't know. I started out as a DJ, so it's kind of like, and it sucks because the DJ world is so rank based. I'm better than you. I'm better than you. It's like I don't give a crap. Every moment you think you're the best, there's someone that's doing something better than you. There's someone that's just starting out. So never compare yourself to others firsthand. But that being said, in the DJ world, you kind of like, I was starting out with a $100 DJ when I was like 12, 13 years old, just getting wherever I could. And eventually, like every year, I would get that one gig that would get me more money. I always got paid flat rate. So to me, it was about the club providing the crowd, and I was building my crowd with the club that was already having the crowd. As far as being a musician and getting like a venue and getting ticket sales. And I've done that as well with my band. That is literally talking to people, handing people things. Still old school. I personally like someone talking to me about their music. It's not for everybody, but Facebook is really important. Messaging people. Promoters, you have to be kind of your own promoter. It's one of those things like, I know promoters making millions of dollars a year just because they hustle. And I think half the music industry is hustling. If you want 30 people or 40 people at your show, you need to talk to 30 and 40 people. You can't just expect just because there's a flyer on a telephone pole that 30 or 40 people are going to show up. You have to physically talk to 30 and 40 people. And the night of the show, you have to confirm with those 30 and 40 people that are going to show up. Because if you have 100 people say they're going to show up, 10 are going to show up. That's just the reality of people, because people suck. It's just, no, it's true.
Especially in LA.
Well, yeah, because LA is network king, right?
Yeah.
But everybody else wants to be a musician. Everybody wants to be where you're at. So most of the support is a little bit lower than some cities. It's great, but as far as the fan retention rate, you're going to have a lot of people that are going to be promising themselves 3 or 4 other places that same night. So you got to be in people's ear without being annoying, but persistent. And if you have to not make any money and you get people by comping their ticket, but you're still paying for their ticket, if it packs a house and they become your fan, it was an investment that was worth it. Don't expect to make money in the beginning, because it doesn't. I still lose money. I still invest into my own show. Sometimes I'm like, well, I really want this laser or something at the show. I'll spend the same amount of money that I'm making on the equipment at the show, because that's what's important for the show.
But a good way to do that is to actually use technology. We've got MailChimp, we've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got all these things. You can set schedules and you can post stuff regularly at a regular interval.
Instagram is king worldwide right now. I don't care what anybody says. It's 100% worldwide, especially in Asian countries. There's so many social media apps that we're not even aware of. Line, if you don't know what it is, get it, use it. If you want any Asian audience, which is a huge demographic that's not being utilized in America, use Line.
WeChat.
Yep, WeChat. Don't just rely on the industry, Facebook, Twitter. Twitter honestly is lowering. Snapchat, don't even waste your time.
Do they use Telegram in Japan?
Telegram, yeah. Not as much.
WhatsApp?
There's another one called TikTok. That's a really good app. It's kind of a funny app where you use it to show your music. It's dumb, it's funny, but people get fast results on that if you just record your own stuff. And for every video you do, put it on every social media. Just don't put one lane. So like, oh, my stuff's on YouTube. Same video on Instagram, same video on Facebook, Same video. Make sure every way of your medium, maybe vary it, but make sure that don't just put all your effort into one. You know, that's all I got on that.
Do you want to do one more
yeah, I'll
quick
play
track
one more
for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Alright,
I'll
cool.
be out here. Sorry for your lengthy ramble. And alright, this song is called GTFU. If you can understand the abbreviation. I'm gonna play the end of it.
Cool. Thanks for that, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate you coming through.
Oh, dude.
Thanks, man. Alright, cool. We're going to take like a little 10-minute interlude here to get Tim set up, and then